So yesterday I did pretty much this exact same video, but I did it with a 2060. And if you didn't watch that video, I'll tell you what I did and what I'm going to do. So I have this series where I test out graphics cards on the most popular free games, not maybe like the most peak popular games, but try to test them on like more relevant, like whatever Steam has that's popular or Epic Games. And I do that because I think that there is an interest if you're potentially going to upgrade to a graphics card, or if you're already sitting on a graphics card, you want to know, one, if you're going to pay that amount of money, you potentially can't buy like a $70 game. So how are you going to be able to run those, cheaper free games? And then two, like if you're almost out of storage or, whatever it might be, for whatever reason, you want to get a game, you want to know, will your computer handle it? Will your graphics card run it? So that's kind of why I created this series. Because I think it's fascinating to see how the hardware runs on free things. And, I just wanted to put that out there for people to see. So yesterday we did the 2060, and I'm going to be honest, I was kind of disappointed in it. And today we're going to be doing the RX 580. This is the Sapphire Nitro. I think it looks really cool. This is an 8GB version. Awesome card. I've liked it so far, and I've been pretty impressed with it. But kind of what did it for me yesterday is the price of the 2060 is still kind of high. I mean, I've seen them from 110, 120 up to 150, 160, which I personally think is too high. And then the RX 580, I've seen those all over. I've seen them go for $50. I've seen them go for $75. I've seen them go for $120. They're cheaper. So this video, I'm going to do the same thing I did yesterday. We're going to play 5 different games on 2 different CPUs. And we're going to compare how it runs on those 2 CPUs, but also at the end, I'm going to throw up a chart where we compare the 2060 to the 580, because I really am curious, like, should you just be buying an RX 580 instead of a 2060? So we're going to be doing 5 different games, as I mentioned. We're going to play Apex Legends, Fortnite, Where Winds Meet, Delta Force, and War Thunder. So Fortnite, Apex Legends, Delta Force all had some stability issues with the 2060, and I don't know if it's because of the CPUs that I'm running on. Perhaps they are games that probably require more computing power. So we're going to see today if that's also a factor. So underneath this cooler here, we have a Ryzen 5 2600. We're going to play all the games on that first, and then we're going to swap over to this, the Ryzen 5 5500. A little bit faster. Well, not a little. It's quite a bit faster, and we saw that in the video yesterday. So I'm going to be really curious as we continue to play these games if we're going to see an improvement from the 2600 to the 5500 again with the RX 580, but also, are the numbers going to be similar, or could this come out ahead? I think the 2060 is supposed to be faster. I didn't look it up, so you guys will probably let me know in the comments, but yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the games. All right, you guys, we have Apex Legends loaded up. We are on the Ryzen 5 2600. The RX 580. Let me go ahead and show you these settings really quickly. 16:9 native, 1080p. What does it have us on here? I don't know. These are the settings. I'm pretty sure it's what we had on before. I need to run this test. I forget what our highs were on the 2060. As far as graphic quality goes, I think it looks a little worse on this, but it does seem to be running pretty smooth. I need some weapons, friends. Let me get some of this loot. I don't even know where I'm at. All right. Oh, cool. We're actually going to see some action here in a second. I don't know if it's going to do me any good. I feel like this is smoother. Now, I will say this because I am... sometimes I'm less than genius, I guess is the best way to put it. I installed DDU a long time ago, and it for some reason it was all in French. Are they shooting at us from that side at this point? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that was really short, and that was really bad. But I'll tell you here while I'm just waiting. I don't know. I don't know if I keep playing that. I'll just tell you on the screen here. So DDU used to be in French for me for some reason. It worked a really long time. Then it was all in French, and I could not get it to install in English. Maybe some of you guys experienced this. So perhaps I finally got it to work again, and now things are just going to run smoother. So perhaps there is some user error there. I don't know, but let's go ahead and jump over to Fortnite. That did feel better in my opinion. All right, guys, Fortnite here on the Ryzen 5 2600 with the RX 580. Should start this test so I don't forget. I'll show you the settings here in a minute, I suppose, because I completely forgot to do that. However, I do remember it. So we're on performance. Everything is on low. And then view distances on Epic. I think on the 2600 yesterday, we did have a little bit of stuttering when we were playing with, yeah, the 2600 and the 2060. So we'll kind of see if that continues for us. All right, so it seems playable-ish so far. I wouldn't say it's been like an incredible experience. Am I like out of the game or something, or what's going on here? Is that guy invincible? There's someone here. So it ran well enough to do that, obviously. Dude, okay. It seemed like there was a little bit of lag there at the end. That was good enough though for Fortnite. So let's go to Where Winds Meet. Now we are in Where Winds Meet. I will say so far, I haven't noticed as much of a problem on this, and this could just be bias and me being mad at the 2060 for not being better, but it feels like it hasn't had any problems. Anyway, here are all the settings for you guys. It's on the same settings that we had yesterday with the 2060. Okay, hold on. This does look worse. Dang. I thought the 580 was definitely gonna hold its own, and no, this is worse. This is not as high quality. The 2060 looked better. This seems way too questy for me, guys. Too much of a quest. All right, so here, after I probably put in an hour or two in this game so far, and I probably put 3 or 4 hours in on Crimson Desert or more. Here is my opinion, because this is kind of what I was comparing it to. Crimson Desert, whoa, that was cool. I ran up that tree. Whoa, okay, maybe I need to rescind all my statements. Crimson Desert seems like you can just do more stuff. This is like, if I don't do this thing, whatever it tells me to do, I can't move on, which is like kind of annoying. Yeah, but it seems like it's running mostly okay. Leave. How do I get down here? I don't know. Someone's probably laughing in the comments like, what are you doing? This feels like it's enough for me. I'm good enough. That's enough testing for this game. We're gonna go to Delta Force. That's the one that was really bad on the 2060, on both the 2600 and the 5500, so we'll see. All right, guys, now we are in Delta Force here. Remember, this was the game that probably gave us the most trouble on the 2060, both on the Ryzen 5 2600 and the 5500. So I'm really curious to see how it does on this, the RX 580. I did look it up online, and you know, as I was mentioning before, the 2060 is supposed to be apparently 50 to 70% faster than this RX 580, which always just kind of makes me laugh, because that was just what AI generated told me. But it always makes me kind of laugh when I see those kinds of things, because I'm like, 50 to 70% is a large number. So you're telling me that I'm basically going to be getting, you know, in these scenarios, it should be, I don't know, 50 to 70 FPS more probably. I can't really do the math right now. But anyway, we are on borderless windowed, unlimited FPS. Everything is on low, which is what we had it set on yesterday. I can tell you now we're getting a lot lower FPS, like a lot lower. But here's the interesting thing, and I think I screwed this up or something. I don't know, this is just a different map. I haven't had a single stutter so far. Like, this has been really playable. And again, I'm attributing that to this is a different map. There's a lot less textures, there's a lot less problems. So this isn't an apples to apple, like it's not fair. But this feels pretty good. Like, I know we're only getting 70, 80-ish FPS, but it feels really solid. And it, if you guys watched the video from yesterday, there was a lot, and I mean a lot, of like just freezes, just flat. Like, it would just go and then turn. I think that's probably enough. I feel like this is a good spot. So it did show us that if there was more, we probably would have lower FPS and some dips. I'm not gonna sit here and wait, you know, 10 rounds to try and get the perfect game. So let's go to our last game, War Thunder. I do hope you guys actually enjoy watching some of these. I know they're free. Maybe some people enjoy these games, maybe some people don't. I don't know. Man, this RX 580 is going. Jeez. All right, let's switch. All right, we are now in War Thunder. I am gonna change it up just a little, which is going to change the FPS just slightly, because I'm terrible at the planes. I wanted to give the tanks a chance. I really haven't played enough of this game to give it a fair chance, but I felt like, one, I'm terrible with the planes, and two, I just wanted to, see what other things were or felt like or how it ran, or I don't know. I just wanted an excuse to try something different, to be honest with you guys. As I was saying earlier, I really do hope you guys enjoy these free games, and I'm doing the ones that are all popular. At some point, maybe I'll just do like whatever is nostalgic or people enjoy the most, or, I have other options, but I always want your guys' feedback to make sure that I'm playing games that we all enjoy, that everyone is liking. High is definitely not the play. I think we ran medium yesterday, so it's really interesting that I think it tried to run ultra on the 2060. Whoa. I think we're gonna get higher FPS on this. It looks really good. It was kind of hard to tell when you're in the sky because you can't really see a whole lot. And some exciting news. Guys, I finally got my hands on a 4790K. I'm so excited. I am so excited because we're gonna test that out. I think for one of the videos I might actually do the 5500 versus the 4790K to see which one's faster. I'm not really sure what to expect there. And also my motherboard may not be good enough for the 4790K to get fully utilized. I really don't know, but I'm really excited for that. Also, that means that I can finally start setting up the event. I'm gonna have to wait until my second child is born because, can I go through the water here? I'm gonna have to wait until my second child is, ooh, that was a big stutter right there when we got into the water. I have to wait till my second child is born because like he's supposed to be here early-ish, mid-May, end of May, like who knows? It could be anywhere from like the 9th to the 20th or something. So I don't want to set up an event and then my wife like starts going into labor. Where are all the people at? And like I get all those people out there and have to cancel on them. So it'll probably be, oh shoot, I missed. Oh, that's the way it fires. Okay. Oh, no. I got him. Get him. Did I win? I don't understand how to play this. Do I just keep shooting at this thing? Why are you not dead? Do we just sit here and shoot at each other? Am I winning? What is happening? Boom! I don't understand, you guys. These are some tough tanks. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, so if you're newer to the channel and you don't know what's happening, I try to host local giveaways because I want to give back to the community. I love gaming. I know that it's really expensive, and at this point in life, I don't know how I'm going to afford these giveaways because honestly, they're getting kind of expensive with how. Oh, let me get it. With how expensive PC parts are. But I have this one built right now. It has the 4790K, which I haven't tested yet. 16 gigs of DDR3. Is that guy dead? I think he's dead. 16 gigs of DDR3 RAM. And then I think I'm either gonna throw this RX 580 in there, which I might not because I really like it. And it's a beautiful looking card. Or I might put I got a 1660 Super single fan today that I might put in there as well, or put in there instead. So. This is probably enough of me rambling and playing tanks. You want some more, buddy? At this point, I don't even need to be playing this. I got him. Okay, that's enough testing. I'm actually enjoying the game now. Let's go ahead and, I'll show you the chart. I'm not gonna run through this chart a whole lot. I'm just gonna put it in front of you because at the end, I'm gonna do the 580 versus the 2060, so. Cool, so here is the chart. Surprisingly, pretty solid numbers on everything. I'm not gonna go in very far in depth. We didn't really have a whole lot of 1% lows compared to what we had yesterday with the 2060. So I'm assuming there's probably some human error somewhere in there. I did something wrong. The card was getting too hot. I really don't know. I didn't pay enough attention or go into depth, and I'm sure some of you guys will tell me maybe you saw something that I did not. So let's go ahead and swap in the 5500, and then at the end, we're gonna compare all of the 2060 information versus the 580. All right, guys, we are in Apex Legends on, I'll fix the 2600 here in a second. It has us on Ultra. Wow, that's crazy. It has us on Ultra. Do I take fall damage? I do not. Wow, this looks actually really surprisingly good. Yeah, feels really smooth so far. Oh, I'm bad. Well, that did seem pretty responsive. I didn't have any lag. So again, all of this could be coming down to I'm just bad at knowing what I'm doing. DDU saved our life, or that 2060 just, I don't know, but I'm not having as many problems now. So
Who knows what it is? All right, you guys, we are now in Fortnite. We are on the, I still haven't changed it from the 2600 to 5500, whatever. I forgot to do it. It's been a very stressful day around the house. Let me show you the settings real quick. We are on 1080p still, unlimited frame rate performance, epic on the view distance, everything else is low or off. And here we go. We're just gonna get into a little bit of quick action. My house it's been a disaster today. My little one is craving naps, but doesn't want a nap, and she threw a temper tantrum today. So this was supposed to come out today, but you guys might be getting it tomorrow. We'll find out. I did see, however, that Fortnite is pulling out Toy Story, which I am very excited for. That was a big thing in our house. Pretty excited about that kind of coming out and getting into the mainstream again, and hopefully, you know, maybe I'll play it just so my daughter can see it, because she loves Toy Story. So in a previous video, I mentioned to you guys that like I've had a really intense year as far as health. One of the things that happened was like I just couldn't really do a whole lot physically. So like I had to spend a lot of time with her, and the only way I could do so, so like I couldn't do a whole lot, and I felt really bad. So I really had to like watch a lot of TV, and I definitely wouldn't say I'm healed now. I'm nowhere near being a healthy spot. I am a lot better, but one of the ways that we would bond is just watching Toy Story, and she just, for like a year and a half, that's literally what her love was. I mean, we went for Halloween all dressed as Toy Story characters, and it was a lot of fun. So it's cool to see that it's kind of making a comeback. I am out of mats. Should have paid attention to that. Cool, that was enough there. That's Fortnite. Let's go ahead and swap over to Where Winds Meet. All right, guys, we are on Where Winds Meet. Let's take a look at the settings real quick. Settings, Where Winds Meet. I still have yet to play with this visual style, so I don't know or understand. It's on the balance, so everything is still low, medium. This one thing is high. I'm sure we could turn that down and get above. Oh, you can't go lower than high. I think it does potentially look better on this 5500. And I know graphics to graphics, people always tell you, whatever graphics card you're on, that's what it's going to look like. But like, I definitely have noticed differences from CPU to CPU. Is there some kind of map that I can follow? Maybe I was wrong earlier, and there are things you can do. So let's leave. Okay, I'm just gonna leave. If it's gonna let me leave, I'm just gonna leave. Some of the like abilities in this game are really cool. Like I like the jumping abilities and all of that. And I do think it definitely has like its spaces where it looks amazing. So, hello there. I can steal your horse? What is this? Give me that horse. Give me that horse, son. Nay. Okay, the game is getting slightly more interesting. Can't lie. It seems like now maybe I judged it too early. All right, that's probably enough Where Winds Meet. Let's go ahead and swap over to Delta Thunder, see how much that improved from the 2600 to the 5500. All right, guys, we are in Delta Force here. Let me go ahead and show you the settings. Should be everything that we had before. Borderless windowed, unlimited, low. Cool. I think maybe we tried to run medium. Possibly ran medium on the 2062, so that could influence this. Let me go look real quick, actually. We were on low, I did just check. So same settings. I guess the big thing is I just haven't felt like any of that hard stutter, and we're on a little more demanding. I would say this is probably a more demanding map again. I think we're getting lower FPS. Wow, that was nice. That was the smoothest it's felt maybe this whole time, but also I got to shoot at him way before he got to shoot at me. So yeah, this definitely feels smoother. I think we're getting a lot less FPS, but I also think that the game is playing way nicer than it did on the 2060. Again, human error could have caused some of that, so I'm not ruling that out. How smooth it is, there we go. Nice, okay, that actually feels really solid. I can live with that. Cool, this showed me that this felt really smooth. I don't know if it was DDU, display driver uninstaller, something I did, or just the game itself. So I'm happy with that. All right, our final game here, War Thunder. I think this does look pretty solid. Let's go ahead and make sure we're on the same settings that we had before. So what was it, medium? I think we were running medium on everything. Yeah, the tank mode actually seemed a little more fun. I'm sure there are people that will argue with me, and I imagine as you get further in the game, it probably becomes more interesting, or there's other objectives besides what I'm doing. Yeah, I am interested. I'm really starting to wonder if not having DDU really has impacted like the performance overall, and has just led to a bad experience with the 2060. So at some point I might have to go back and retest with that 2060, or it's just, who knows what it is. But the RX 580 seemed a lot more stable overall, and I bet we're gonna see that in the numbers. I don't know why, but I don't seem to get shot at a whole lot in this game. That's probably enough. I don't probably need to play much more. So let's go ahead and I will show you guys the graph now. The 2060 versus the 580, and I'll probably just do it like game by game so that you can see how it performed on the 2600 and the 5500. All right guys, so the way I've laid the chart out is it has the 580 numbers on top, 2060 numbers on the bottom. The blue is the average, green is the low, orange is the max. So on the 580 from CPU to CPU, it was pretty much identical in everything. But on the 2060, the average did jump up by 13, but the average was also a lot higher on both GPUs here. The 1% lows also almost matched on the 2600, so I'm thinking that perhaps there is a bottleneck from this 2600, not allowing much more than like a 580 to really succeed on it. On Where Winds Meet, the average jumped up considerably from the 580 to the 2060. That's 39 to this is what, a 12, 21, something like that. I can't do math here. 12, no. 39 to 58, what is that? Almost 20. Sorry guys, bad at math here. 36 to 52, quite a big jump as well. The 1% lows were actually better on the 580 though, so that could just be user error. Could be, like I said, getting that display driver uninstaller on there. War Thunder, the averages, so it's interesting, from the 2600 on the 2060 to the 2600 on the 580 was almost identical. On the 580 though, we saw nearly a 60-point jump in the FPS and a significantly higher max. So we did start to see that the 5500 unlocked that 2060 a lot more. On Fortnite, averages were not as far off as I expected. On the 2600, it was almost identical. And then here, it was about a 30 FPS different, but it was significantly higher on the max and a decent bit higher on the 5500 2060's 1% lows. Still pretty good on the 580 though. And last but not least, Delta Force, average FPS jumped up quite a bit from the 5500 on the 580 to the 2060. But the one thing I do want to point out is the 1% lows were a lot better on the 580. So I don't know if that's VRAM, if that was user error, or what that might have been. So that was pretty cool to get to see the 580 in action, especially considering the fact that it's an older card. It's not very expensive these days, and you wouldn't think it could be pushed as far as it did. Now the 2060 definitely did perform better, but you have to ask yourself, for the price, the performance difference, would it actually be worth it? Like I said, the RX 580 I've seen go the 16 gigabyte version for $50, and then everything else from 50 up to 120. The 2060s I've only seen it 120 up to 200. So interesting comparison. I hope that it brought you guys some value, some entertainment, and as always, you enjoy me watching either be really okay at video games or really, really bad. Maybe they're really bad. If you guys are interested, I do have a newsletter where I'll update you of upcoming content. That is a free service. I'll have the link for it down below. There is actually a PC that I'm giving away to the paid subscribers, and in fact, it's this PC right here. If you guys are interested, the details will also be on that link. Otherwise, as you guys go, I hope you will check out some of the other videos, and I will catch you in the next one.